the dragon that brought water. So children, maybe you have heard many stories about dragon, maybe you have watched movies or in cartoons you have seen, so you will be having that idea how the dragons are. So it is very huge and generally it is depicted as fierce and destructive. And as maybe you have watched in the movies that people made great efforts to protect themselves or save themselves from the anger of the dragons. But in this story, it is entirely different, the story about dragon. And then children, it also, in this story, it is also a messenger of good luck. In this story, it is said to be, you can just say that it is a messenger of good luck. How means the villagers were in great trouble when there was no rain for long time, and how the dragon helped them, and it brought with it new life and disappeared quietly after that. So let us read and we'll come to know children. So just open your textbook, that is page number 107. So 107 you open and just follow the lines where I am reading, and we'll come to know the story of the dragon here. It is entirely different from the other stories. Okay. So once upon a time there was a large rock in the gentle meadows of a small valley in the hills. Once upon a time there was a large rock in the gentle meadows. Meadows means what? An area of land with grass and their wild plants in it. Okay, an area of land with grass and their wild plants in it. So there was a gentle meadows of small valley in the hills. Valley means what? A low area of land between hills or mountains, typically with a river or stream flowing through it. Okay. So once there was a small valley in the hills, it looked like a sleeping dragon. It looked like a sleeping dragon there. The children loved to frolic and chatter around this rock the whole day. Frolic means what? To play and move around. To play and move around. So the children loved to play and move around and chatter around this rock the whole day. So they would like to play there. They would like to play and move around that rock as it looked like a dragon, sleeping dragon. And then it was their favorite spot. The children's favorite spot. You can just see the picture also. You can see the dragon behind them. So the children like to play there and move around there. So it was their favorite spot. So let's see what happens. The children knew it was a dragon. The children knew that it was a dragon. Even the grown-ups, the dogs, cats and birds knew it was a dragon. But nobody was scared of it as it never moved from its place. So everybody knew that that was a dragon was sleeping there. So but nobody cared for it. So grown-ups means adults. So the adults, dogs, cats, even the animals also knew that that it was a dragon, but nobody cared for it as it would never move from the place. So that only the children used to come and play there. So that was the favorite spot for the children. So let's see children, then what happens. So then not only that much, even the elders or the women, they would poke sticks at it, and they would poke stick at it, but still it never used to move. And also hang their wet boots on the ears. Hang their wet boots on its ears. But it did not mind. So whatever you do, if you poke it with a stick, they used to hang their wet boots on its ears, but it did not mind. So it used to sleep. It was like a rock only there. The woman would chop twigs for firewood on its lazily drooping tail. So what the woman would do, they would chop twigs for firewood on its lazily drooping tail. On its lazily drooping tail, because it was just at the right height. It was just at the right height. So what the woman used to do, they used to chop twigs for firewood and they used to on its lazily drooping tail, because it was just at the right height. So that only they used to do like that. So easily they could climb and they could chop the twigs for firewood. And the next paragraph, often on a cool night under the star, often on a cool night under the stars, the folks would share the stories about how the dragon got there. So then what happened in the evening? So they would just share the stories, whatever they heard from their ancestors or from their elders about the stories of dragon there. So on a cool night under the stars, the folks would share the stories. So they would share their stories, whatever they heard from their elders, from their ancestors. So whatever stories they would heard, so they used to tell for the children and for the people also. The story about how the dragon got there, how the dragon got there. So they used to share their stories about the dragon. Though nobody knew for sure, one thing that everybody agreed on was a small song which they had inherited from their forefathers. Okay, then what happened? Nobody knows for sure what had happened, but only one thing they would knew, that they had inherited a small song from their forefathers. Forefathers means ancestors. They had received that song. They had received that small song about dragon. Only that they would knew, and they used to sing. So it went like this: when the trouble will be high, the dragon will fly. It will spread its wing and dig through its back a tiny spring. So this was the small song there. When the trouble will be high, the dragon will fly. It will spread its wing and dig through its back a tiny spring. So this was the rhyme that they used to just utter whenever they were free, and they used to sit in the evening. They used to say stories about the dragon to the people, to the children. And one song they knew about the dragon was this, what I read here. So that is, when the trouble will be high, the dragon will fly, it will spread its wing and dig through its back a tiny spring. Then what happened? The days went by quietly. There had been no rain in the valley. So the days went by quietly. So there had been no rain in the valley for a long, as the children could remember. So there was no rain only. So the well started to dry. The lawns had faded to a crisp biscuit color, and the flowers dropped their proud heads. So as there was no rain, so then what happened? So the well started drying. The lawns had faded to a crisp biscuit. It's like, so everything you can just see in the picture here. So the lawns had faded to a crisp biscuit color, and the flowers dropped their proud heads. The valley turned browner, drier and thirstier with each passing day. So as there was no rain for many days, so what happened? All these things started happening there. Problems started arriving there. So then what happened? Everybody grew worried there. So everybody grew worried. They would look upwards, searching for rain clouds in the blue. So everyone would look upwards, searching for the rain clouds in the blue clear sky, but none ever came. So like the people were just expecting for the rain to come, and they used to just look upwards to in the sky for the rain clouds in the blue clear sky. The tale of the dragon cannot be true, said old Mrs. Sopara. So the people who were living in that town, who were staying there, so they are just saying that the tale of the dragon, whatever the story we have heard from our ancestors or from our elders, so it can never be true. It cannot be true. It is not a true. So said one old Mrs. Sopara. So then what happened? It hasn't moved an inch, I swear, replied her neighbor. So they're just talking about the dragon, that it is not a true story. Whatever stories we heard about dragon, that it would come and help us. So everything is not true. It is just a story there. So and else it has not moved an inch there. You are in so much trouble. It has not moved an inch. So like that they are talking about the dragon with children. It was now too hot for the children to play out in the sun. It was too hot for the children to play out in the sun, and they would gather under the shadow of the rocks. So what they would do? They would gather under the shadow of the rocks. The dragon will help us soon, said one child. So the children were hoping that dragon would definitely help. Surely it will come and help. So the children, so here one child is saying that the dragon will help us. The dragon will help us soon, said one child. And then we are sure he will nod at all in agreement. So children were having that so much hope that one day the dragon will come and help them. A week went by with no change. Meanwhile, the children moved around the valley. The children had that hope that surely it will come and help. And then week went by with no change. Meanwhile, the children moved around the valley. picking and plucking at the fading flowers. So what they did, so they were moving around the valley. They used to pick and pluck the fading flowers because of that hot sun. So the fading flowers only they used to pick, and what they did, they placed bunches around the dragon in a big circle. Okay, they placed the bunches around the dragon in big circle and danced around it, skipping and chanting the rhyme that they all knew so well. So whatever they heard that rhyme from the elders, so they used to hear from them. No, so what they did, they collected the fading flowers from around the valley, and then they made a big circle and they started skipping, chanting the rhyme, and they all knew that one day the dragon would come and help them. So they used to just chant the same rhyme what they heard from their elders. So that is, when the trouble will be high, the dragon will fly, it will spread its wing and dig through its back at rainy spring. Okay, children. So like that, the children were dancing around the dragon tree. So let me in my class here, in the next class we'll see what happens, whether the dragon will help them or not. So let us read and come to know children in the next class. See you in the next class, children. Thank you.